So we are in Boothbay Harbor, Maine, and this beach came as a suggestion from another YouTuber that I follow, Solace and Shelling. If you haven't checked out his page yet, it is an awesome YouTube channel. If you love shelling and you love my channel, you will definitely love his. So again, this came as a suggestion to check out the tide pools and the rocks at Ocean Point Beach in Maine. So that is what we are exploring today. And I am very excited to be here. Okay, this is like jackpot for me. Look at all of this stuff. It's a huge shell pile here that we just hit. And there is so much going on in it. And they're all, for the most part, vacant shells, which means these are collection ads. But I can't believe how many yellow periwinkles we have here. All different colors. Beautiful white dog whelks with perfect apex intact. Look at that right there. What I like about the yellow periwinkles is that they're so vibrant. So vibrant. Still not seeing. Ooh, look at this nice banded dog whelk. That is going to clean up really nice. There's a bunch of limpets down here on the rocks. And you can see, here's a good look at what their foot looks like underneath. They are univalve gastropods. They have tiny little teeth. And the limpets live on the rocks. And when the water is completely submerged the rocks is when they feed. And all of those little teeth scrape the algae off the rocks. And they feed on the algae. So this is an up-close look at a limpet. That beautiful shell that they have. There are a bunch of them here. And the teeth on the limpets are called a radula. So the moon snails that we find on Plum Island have that radula drill that drills through bivalves and other gastropods and even other moon snails to feed. And this is a limpet. And they have little tiny teeth. You can see it moving there on my finger. It's so cool. You can feel it. But the teeth is what scrapes the algae off of the rocks, and that's what the limpets feed on. So we'll leave this one here because it is still alive. We'll let it go on its way, and we'll go check out what else this area has to offer. There you go. And there's a few more down here. You can see them down there. They're really beautiful. I'm really enjoying this because we do not have this on Plum Island. So this is a nice treat for us to be able to explore Maine and get a little taste of the type of adventure that is here. These dogs are cracking me up swimming in the water. This water is freezing, just so you know. It's probably about 50 degrees. Very chilly. And I am finding a bunch of sea glass. And the beach is very rocky. There are some shells here. Some really cool flat oyster shells. Take this down to the water, give it a rinse for you. See how those nice grow lines in that. It's a bunch of little tide pools. There are blue mussels here as well. All that nice, beautiful nacre inside. Oh, another cute little periwinkle over here. Very cute. We are taking this flat oyster down to the water to give it a rinse. Great little tide pools here to rinse off the shells. So these are those flat oysters that we do not have on Plum Island. But I was at Webb Memorial Beach a few weekends ago and they had them there, but these are really nice flat oyster shells. This one's hinged, so I will bring this one home as part of my collection. But you can see down here there are a lot of periwinkles that are in the tide pools. A lot of seaweed here, a lot of big rocks at the low tide. So really different than Plum Island with the rocks. But what you can find here, which is typical of rocky beaches, is less shells but more sea glass. Really beautiful pieces, completely smooth edges. Nice. I'm getting a little bit of everything here, which I'm loving. I'm getting the sea glass, the periwinkles, dog whelks. So we are in the middle of all of these rocks. Very familiar territory for us. But I'm going to try to get up there where there's a bunch of flat areas where we can do a lot more walking. Over here there's a lot of huge, big boulders, and it's very difficult to navigate around this and film at the same time. So we're going to try to get up higher to the smaller rocks to move around a little bit better. Some very beautiful dog whelks here. They are alive, but these are the ones we also find on Plum Island. I'm not going to disturb this one, but it is alive and it's beautiful. Check out that apex. Fully intact. We got some periwinkles back here. Some really cool periwinkles. There is a periwinkle dog whelk duo and a very cool, beautiful limpet. Look at the markings on that shell. That is really beautiful. Look at all this seaweed. It's all crazy. Like, look at this. So much. We do not have all of this on Plum Island, but there is a lot going on here. There's more of those dog whelks in here. Nice banded shell. It's very sunny today. Some other banded ones underneath here. We'll leave those be because they are alive. But I'll take you around. We'll flip over some rocks. So there's a lot of shells here that look a little bit different than the ones we find on Plum Island. So I wanted to see, because there are so many of them, I want to see if there's any empty ones if we dig through the rocks here that we can take home and add to our collection. One I'm really looking for is the limpet shell. So I'm looking for a larger one of those. So we'll see what we can find when we dig through here. A little green crab carapace from an expired green crab. Ooh, some really nice empty periwinkle shells, which I will definitely take some of these because we don't have them this size on Plum Island, or at least I've never come across one this size on Plum Island. So I'm enjoying looking at these today because there are some pretty huge ones here. Another one down here. Periwinkles. But again, I am looking for an empty limpet shell. I mean, look at the size of these. These are huge. Bet if we do this in a few areas, we will come across one. Here's a nice dog whelk shell. No one home. This one will clean up really nice. And look at the apex on that. That is immaculate. And they do look a little different than the ones that we find on Plum Island, which is really exciting for me. It's like no matter where I go, I always end up flipping over rocks. Even when we were in Florida, same deal. I see rocks, I need to get in them. But yeah, I haven't seen any. This one's still alive, so we're gonna leave it here. Haven't seen any of the expired limpets yet, which is kind of what I'm on the hunt for today, along with anything else interesting we can find. But yeah, look at the size of this. This is expired. Had a piece of seaweed stuck in it. But look at how huge that is. I'm really loving the Maine coastline for these shells. See something down here. I just get scared sticking my fingers into a hole at the beach, but this is a huge periwinkle, and there is no one home here, but really nice shell. Very large, much larger than the ones we find on Plum Island. Look at how beautiful some of these rocks are. I'm always fascinated by the rocks at Bar Head, but what I particularly like about the rocks in Maine is how water beaten and water worn they are. So just to give you a good idea of some scale, this is my hand here. This rock is magnificently large. We haven't come across a limpet shell yet, but I'm thinking maybe if we go scour the beach down there in a little bit, maybe a few have washed up. So if we don't find any here, I'm thinking we may find some there. Well, I have to be careful because I did come across a little crab earlier. It did pinch onto my finger. And it didn't feel great. It didn't hurt, but it didn't feel great. So there's another one of those crabs. Green crab. The crabs, the little crabs kind of freak me out because they're like spiders. And I'm a little bit of an arachnophobe, especially with anything bigger than a dime. So you can see all these crab crawling around in here. Freaking me out a little bit. Truth be told. But there's really nice shells in here, so to me it's worth the risk. Okay, I like this one. Another periwinkle. I mean, look at the banded periwinkles over here. To get up and grab some of these. Kind of worth the risk of getting crabbed. And don't get me wrong, I like crabs and I pick them up, especially the really large ones. I don't have any problems with them when I know they're there. It's when I don't know they're there and they come creeping out at me is one that freaks me out. The banding on that. That is going to be so nice when we rinse it off in the water. And I'm sitting over here, and right over there, I see another one of those really cool dog whelks that are just beautiful, like untouched. I want to get over there to take a look at it. To be careful not to break our necks. But I am not going to pull this one off because it is still alive. But I am just in awe of these. These are gorgeous. These were like worth the trip to this beach alone. Got some really little micros down in there. Nice little piece of beechwood. More bugs. This beach is definitely buggy. Cool piece of pottery. Really nice piece of beach pottery here. Clean that up. I'm really surprised we haven't come across a limpet shell. Of course, like the one thing that I am looking for is not here. Very nice dog whelk. Really beautiful. Look at that apex. I know I keep talking about the apex, but these are really like beautiful and untouched. And I'm shocked because we are in a ton of rocks, which means there should be a ton of breakage. And they're just not. They're really beautiful and they're immaculate. Another yellow periwinkle. This is definitely something I want to fill a jar with. So I've been pocketing these. Yeah, so like we have to come across an empty limpet shell. I mean, how could we not? Oof, bugs. Beautiful periwinkle. Look at that. That is incredible. Loving today. I didn't really know what we would find coming to Maine. When I looked on a lot of the forums on the interwebs, it said Maine was very rocky, and that's about it. But I'm loving our finds today, and I don't want to leave. I am still shocked that we have not found a limpet shell yet. But we found a bunch of live ones, so I mean, I can't complain. Because look at all this loot we have. This is a situation where I feel like I'm going to go home later and edit this footage, and I'm going to see about 5 or 6 empty limpet shells. I don't think I have pockets big enough to carry all of these home. And I hate throwing mini shells in my bag because I feel like they always get lost. So when you come out to the rocks, don't be afraid, in addition to flipping the rocks over, don't be afraid to move things, because that's where you find a lot of interesting marine life. Some really cool dog whelks here. One down here. Another yellow periwinkle here. This one is alive, attached to this piece of seaweed here, so we will leave this one. There's a lot of lobster traps that wash up here too. You can see the bait bags in there. So those bait bags are filled with mussels. It looks like blue mussels. Looks like they're all pretty much filled with blue mussels. But the way that the lobster trap works is the lobster crawls into the trap to go after those bait bags, and then it cannot figure out how to get back out. So that lobster becomes trapped and ends up on somebody's dinner plate. I'm sure some of them are able to get out and escape and Houdini the lobster trap. So those are the ones that we'll think about. Okay, I think we are gonna call it a day. I think it's been a wrap here. We have not found that limpet shell, but that's okay. It will give us a reason to come back here. I am 100% okay with that, because there is so much stuff to look under and look through, and you know how we love that. So we are okay with coming back to look for that limpet next time. But thank you so much for shelling with me today, and I will see you next time we hit the beach. Bye!